Chuck stood in the kitchen, his hands deep in soapy water, scrubbing pots until his fingers hurt. Blessing had just brought him a cup of cold water without him asking. She smiled at him like he was a real person, not just a servant. In that moment, watching her walk away, he knew something his money could never buy had just found him. But let me tell you how we got here. Chuck's was the kind of man people noticed when he entered a room. Not because he was loud or showed off, but because wealth has a way of announcing itself even when you try to hide it. He owned 3 houses in Port Harcourt, 2 in Lagos, and 1 in Abuja. His businesses were doing so well that money came in even while he slept. At 32 years old, he had everything a man could want. Everything except one thing. Love. Real love. The kind his parents had before they died. The kind where a woman looks at you and sees you, not your bank account. Chuck's had dated many women. Beautiful women. Educated women. Women who said all the right things. But after 5 relationships that ended the same way, he began to see a pattern. They all loved his cars. They all loved his houses. They all loved the expensive restaurants and the trips to Dubai. But did any of them love him? The real him? The man who sometimes burned his toast in the morning. The man who liked to watch old Nollywood films and laugh at the bad special effects. The man who was afraid of growing old alone. He didn't think so. The last woman he dated, Jennifer, had been the final proof he needed. They had been together for 8 months. She said she loved him every day. She talked about marriage and children. Then one afternoon, Chucks came home early from a business trip. He heard Jennifer on the phone in his bedroom. "Yes, I'm still with him," she was saying. "Do I love him? Please. But have you seen his house? His cars? I'll marry him, collect my share, then we can be together properly. Just give me 1 more year." Chucks didn't confront her. He simply asked her to leave that evening, making up an excuse about needing space. She cried. She begged. She said he was making a mistake. But her tears felt as fake as her love had been. After Jennifer left, Chuck sat alone in his big house for 3 days. He didn't go to work. He didn't answer phone calls. He just thought. And the more he thought, the more he realized something. His wealth was a wall. It stood between him and real connection. Every woman who met him saw the wall first. They never got close enough to see the man behind it. That's when the idea came to him. What if he removed the wall? What if he met someone as a regular person? Not poor but not obviously rich either. Just a normal man trying to make a living. Would someone love that man? He decided to find out. Chucks told his business partners he was taking a year off. He said he was traveling abroad, and he made them promise not to contact him unless the businesses were burning down. Then he moved out of his big house and rented a small self-contained apartment in a quiet neighborhood. He bought simple clothes from the market. He packed away his expensive watches and shoes. He looked at himself in the mirror and saw someone different. Someone ordinary. Now he needed a job. A real job where he would work with his hands and sweat like regular people. He thought about what he could do. He wasn't going to fake a skill he didn't have. That would be dishonest. Then he remembered something. Before his father died and left him money, before the businesses took off, Chucks had loved cooking. His mother taught him. After she died, cooking was how he felt close to her. Over the years he had gotten very good at it. Chef. He would be a chef. But not in a restaurant where he might run into people who knew him. He would work in someone's house. Private chef. He asked around quietly and heard that a man named Mr. Michael was looking for a cook. His previous cook had traveled back to his village. Chucks went to apply for the job. Mr. Michael's house was nice but not too big. It was a 2-story building painted cream and brown. The compound was clean and there were flowers growing near the gate. Chucks knocked and a young woman opened the door. She looked him up and down like he was something dirty on her shoe. "Yes," she said. "Good afternoon. My name is Chucks. I'm here about the cook position." "Cook position?" She laughed but there was no happiness in it. "Daddy. Another one is here." She walked away without inviting him in. Chucks stood at the door, unsure what to do. Then a voice called from inside. "Let him in now. Where are your manners?" A man came to the door. He was in his 50s, with gray hair at his temples and a kind face that looked tired. This was Mr. Michael. "Sorry about that. Please come in." He shook Chucks's hand firmly. "You're here for the cook job?" "Yes, sir." Good, good. Come to the kitchen. Let me see what you can do." Mr. Michael led him through the house. Chuck saw nice furniture and family pictures on the walls. The house smelled like food and cleaning products. It felt lived in. Real. In the kitchen, Mr. Michael folded his arms. My last cook was with me for 5 years. Good man. But his mother is sick in the village, so he had to go. I need someone who can cook proper Nigerian food. My daughters are always complaining that they miss home cooking. I can cook, sir. My mother taught me before she passed. Something softened in Mr. Michael's face. Sorry about your mother. Mine taught me too, but I was never as good as she was. He opened the fridge. There's rice, there's chicken, there's vegetables. Make me something. Anything. Show me what you can do. Chucks looked at what was available. He decided on jollof rice with fried chicken and a small salad. Nothing fancy. Just good food made with care. He worked quietly while Mr. Michael sat at the kitchen table, watching. Chucks washed the rice properly, letting it soak. He cut the tomatoes and peppers. He seasoned the chicken the way his mother had taught him, with thyme and curry and a little bit of ginger. He didn't rush. Good food takes time. When he was done, he served Mr. Michael a plate. The older man took one bite and closed his eyes. This reminds me of my late wife's cooking, he said quietly. She would add a little ginger to the chicken too. Most people don't do that. My mother did the same thing. Mr. Michael ate in silence. When he finished, he wiped his mouth and stood up. The job is yours if you want it. I'll pay you 50,000 naira a month. You'll cook breakfast, lunch and dinner. Sundays you can rest but leave something we can heat up. There's a boys' quarters at the back where you'll stay. It's small but clean. Does that work for you? 50,000 naira was nothing to Chucks. He spent more than that on fuel for his cars in a month. But he nodded. Yes, sir. That works. Good. You can start tomorrow. Come early around 6. I like my tea by 7. They shook hands and Chucks left. As he walked out, he saw the same young woman who had opened the door. She was sitting in the living room with another girl who looked like her. They both watched him with the same cold expression. So Daddy gave you the job? One of them said. Yes. Just know that we don't eat nonsense in this house. If the food is rubbish, you'll hear from us. Chucks nodded and left. He didn't let their rudeness bother him. He had dealt with difficult people in business. He could handle difficult girls. That night, in his small apartment, Chucks lay on his bed and thought about what he was doing. Was this crazy? Maybe. But he was tired of being alone. Tired of wondering if anyone would ever love the real him. This was his chance to find out. The next morning, he arrived at Mr. Michael's house at 6 o'clock sharp. The gate was already open. He went around to the boys' quarters at the back. It was indeed small. Just one room with a bed, a small wardrobe, and a bathroom. But it was clean like Mr. Michael said. There was even a small desk by the window. Chucks unpacked his few things and went to the main house. The kitchen was empty and quiet. He started making tea and preparing breakfast. He decided on yam and egg sauce with some fruit. Simple but filling. By 7 o'clock, the house started waking up. He heard footsteps and voices. Mr. Michael came down first, already dressed for work in a neat shirt and trousers. Good morning, Chucks. Something smells good. Good morning, sir. Breakfast is ready. Wonderful. Let me call my daughters. Mr. Michael went to the bottom of the stairs and called up. Girls, breakfast is ready. Come down now. 3 young women came down the stairs. Chucks recognized the 2 from yesterday. They looked like they were in their early 20s. Both were dressed nicely and had their hair done in expensive styles. They barely looked at him. The 3rd girl was different. She came down last, wearing a simple dress, and her hair was natural and pulled back in a ponytail. She was pretty in a quiet way. Not loud like her sisters. When she saw him, she smiled. Good morning. You must be the new cook. I'm Blessing. Good morning. I'm Chucks. This is Blessing, my first daughter, Mr. Michael said with clear pride in his voice. And these are my other daughters, Chidera and Oluchi. The 2 girls mumbled greetings without looking at him. They all sat at the dining table and Chucks served breakfast. He tried to serve everyone equally, but Chidera waved him away impatiently. Just put it down. I can serve myself. Blessing looked embarrassed. Don't mind her. The food looks very nice. Thank you. Chucks went back to the kitchen to give them privacy. He could hear them talking as they ate. The food is actually not bad, he heard Oluchi say, surprised. Better than the last cook, Mr. Michael agreed. It's very good, Blessing added. Chitara said nothing. After breakfast, Mr. Michael left for work. The two sisters also left, talking about going shopping. Blessing stayed behind. She came to the kitchen where Chucks was washing dishes. Sorry about my sisters, she said. They can be difficult sometimes. It's fine. No, it's not fine. You're doing a job. You deserve respect. She picked up a dish towel. Let me help you dry these. You don't have to. I know I don't have to. I want to. They worked together in comfortable silence. Chucks found himself stealing glances at her. There was something peaceful about Blessing. She didn't fill the silence with unnecessary words. Can I ask you something? She said after a while. Sure. Why are you working as a cook? You seem, I don't know, different. Chucks's heart beat faster. Had she figured him out already? Different how? Like you've done other things. Been other places. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Everyone has a past, Chuck said carefully. I just needed a change. Something simple. Blessing nodded like she understood. Sometimes simple is better. People complicate things too much. She finished drying the last plate and hung up the towel. I'm going to the market later. Do you need anything for cooking? Maybe some fresh vegetables. And more chicken. I'll get them. Just make me a list. After she left, Chuck stood in the kitchen thinking. Blessing hadn't asked about his past in a nosy way. She was just curious. And she had helped him with the dishes like it was the most natural thing in the world. Her sisters had left their plates on the table without even saying thank you. The days turned into weeks. Chuck settled into a routine. He woke up early, made breakfast, prepared lunch, and cooked dinner. Mr. Michael was always kind to him. He would sometimes stay in the kitchen and talk while Chucks cooked. He talked about his late wife, about how much he missed her, about how hard it was raising daughters alone. Blessing is like her mother, he said one evening. Kind heart. Always thinking of others. The other two, they're good girls but they take after their mother. My new wife. He sighed. She travels a lot. Businesswoman. The girls learned to think about money and status from her. Chitara and Oluchi continued to treat Chucks like he was invisible. They would walk into the kitchen and demand things without please or thank you. They would complain if the food wasn't exactly how they wanted it. They would leave their plates wherever they finished eating and expect him to clean up after them. One time, Oluchi knocked over a full glass of juice and just walked away. Clean that up, she said over her shoulder. Chucks bit his tongue and cleaned it. This was what he signed up for. He was learning who people really were when they thought you were beneath them. But Blessing was different. Every day she found small ways to be kind. She would bring him cold water when he was cooking over the hot stove. She would ask if he had eaten. She would help him carry heavy pots. She talked to him like he was a person, not just the help. Tell me something about yourself, she said one afternoon while he was chopping vegetables. What do you want to know? Anything. Where did you grow up? Do you have siblings? What do you dream about? No one had asked Chucks what he dreamed about in a long time. I grew up in Port Harcourt. Only child. My parents died some years ago. As for dreams, he paused. I dream about finding something real. Someone real. Real how? Someone who sees me. Really sees me. Not what I can give them or what I can do for them. Just me. Blessing was quiet for a moment. I think that's what everyone wants. To be seen. What about you? Chucks asked. What do you dream about? I want to open a school, she said. Her face lit up when she talked about it. For children who can't afford education. I studied education in university. I want to use it for something meaningful. But my stepmother thinks it's a waste. She wants me to marry a rich man and forget about teaching. And what do you want? I want to matter. Not because of who I marry or how much money I have. I want to matter because I helped someone. Because I made a difference. Chucks felt something shift in his chest. Here was someone who thought like him. Who understood that life was about more than money and status. As more weeks passed, Chucks and Blessing spent more time together. Not in an inappropriate way. Just talking. She would sit in the kitchen while he cooked and they would discuss everything. Book, movies, life, dreams, politics, religion. They didn't agree on everything but they listened to each other. Really listened. Chitara and Oluchi noticed. Why are you always hanging around the cook? Chitara asked Blessing one day. Chucks heard them from the kitchen. His name is Chucks. And I'm not hanging around. We're just talking. About what? What could you possibly have to talk about with the cook? About a lot of things. He's actually very interesting. Lucci laughed. Interesting. Blessing, please. He's the help. Don't forget yourself. I haven't forgotten anything. Maybe you should remember that everyone deserves respect, regardless of their job. Whatever. Just don't come crying to us when people start gossiping. Imagine the daughter of this house keeping company with the cook. It's embarrassing. Blessing didn't respond, but Chucks could hear her walk away. He felt bad that she was being criticized because of him. That evening, he tried to keep his distance. But Blessing came to the kitchen anyway. Don't listen to my sisters, she said. They don't understand. Understand what? That a person's job doesn't define them. That kindness matters more than status. She looked at him directly. I like talking to you, Chucks. You make me feel like I can be myself. Do you know how rare that is? Chucks knew exactly how rare it was. 'Cause she made him feel the same way. One Saturday morning everything changed. Chucks was in the market buying ingredients for the week. He was looking at tomatoes when he heard a familiar voice. Chucks, is that really you? He turned and his heart sank. It was Emika, a business associate. Someone who knew him as a wealthy businessman, not as a cook. Emika, how are you? Man, where have you been? Everyone has been asking about you. We heard you traveled abroad, but... Emika looked at the tomatoes in Chucks's hands, at his simple clothes. What are you doing? It's a long story. Are you in trouble? Do you need money? Because I can. No, I'm fine. I'm just trying something different. Emika looked confused but nodded slowly. Okay. Well, if you need anything, you know where to find me. It's good to see you, man. After Emika left, Chuck stood there feeling shaken. His two worlds had almost collided. He needed to be more careful. But more than that, he realized something. He had been living this simple life for almost 4 months now. And in those 4 months, he had felt more alive, more real than he had in years. All because of Blessing. He was falling in love with her. Real love. The kind that had nothing to do with money or status. The kind that grew from shared conversations and mutual respect. The kind that saw him for who he really was. But she didn't know who he really was. And that was the problem. That evening after dinner, Mr. Michael asked Chucks to sit with him in the living room. This had never happened before. Chucks felt nervous. Sit down, Mr. Michael said. I want to talk to you about something. Chuck sat. I've noticed that you and Blessing spend a lot of time together, Mr. Michael said. His voice was calm but serious. I'm not blind. And I'm not stupid. Sir, I can explain. Mr. Michael held up his hand. Let me finish. I've watched you these past months. You're a good man. Respectful. Hardworking. Kind. You treat my daughter with respect. You make her smile. She's happier since you came here. He leaned forward. But I'm her father. So I have to ask. What are your intentions? Chucks felt his throat go dry. This was the moment. He could lie. Or he could tell the truth. But which truth? The truth about his feelings. Or the truth about who he really was? I care about her, sir, Chucks said carefully. Very much. But I understand our situations are different. I'm just your cook. That's not what I asked. I asked about your intentions. I would never dishonor your daughter, sir. Or your house. Mr. Michael studied him for a long moment. My first wife, Blessing's mother, was the daughter of a gardener. My family didn't approve. They said she was beneath me. But she was the best thing that ever happened to me. She taught me that a person's worth has nothing to do with their job or their family name. It has to do with their character. He paused. So if you care about my daughter, and you're a man of good character, then your job doesn't matter to me. Chucks felt overwhelmed. Thank you, sir. That means everything. But, Mr. Michael continued, you should know that my new wife and her daughters will not be so understanding. They already think Blessing is crazy for spending time with you. If things go further, there will be problems. I understand. Do you? Because it won't just be harsh words. They can be cruel. Especially Chidera. She has her mother's temper. As if on cue, the front door opened and Chidera walked in with Oluchi. They had been out all day. They saw Chucks sitting in the living room with their father and stopped. Why is the cook sitting in here? Chidera asked. His name is Chucks, and I invited him to sit, Mr. Michael said firmly. But why? Because this is my house and I can invite whoever I want to sit in my living room. Chittera's face hardened. Is this about Blessing? About how she's been parading around with him? Watch your mouth, Mr. Michael warned. No, Daddy. Someone has to say it. It's disgraceful. What will people say? The daughter of this house spending time with the cook. It's embarrassing. The only thing that's embarrassing is your behavior, Mr. Michael said, standing up. His voice was cold now. Chucks is a guest in this house and an employee who has served us well. You will treat him with respect. But Daddy, no more. If I hear one more word about this, you will see another side of me. Do you understand? Chittera glared at Chucks like everything was his fault. Then she stormed upstairs. Oluchi followed her, shaking her head. I'm sorry, sir, Chucks said quietly. I didn't mean to cause problems. You didn't cause anything. They did. Mr. Michael sat back down, suddenly looking very tired. Just be careful, Chucks, and be sure about what you want. Because once you start this, there's no going back. That night, Chucks couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Mr. Michael's words. About Blessing. About the life he had left behind. He had come here looking for true love, and he had found it. But now what? How long could he keep pretending? And what would happen when Blessing found out the truth? The next day was Sunday. Chucks had prepared food that could be heated up, so he had the day to himself. He was in his room reading when there was a knock on his door. It was Blessing. Hi, she said. She looked nervous. Can we talk? Of course. They walked to a small garden at the back of the compound. There was a bench under a mango tree. They sat down. I heard what happened yesterday, Blessing said. With my father and my sisters. I'm sorry. I didn't want to cause trouble for you. You didn't cause anything. They did. She turned to look at him. Chucks, I need to ask you something and I need you to be honest with me. His heart raced. Okay. Do you have feelings for me? Real feelings? There was no point in lying. Not to her. Not about this. Yes, I do. I have feelings for you too, she said quietly. I've tried to ignore them. I tried to tell myself it's just friendship. But it's not. It's more than that. They sat in silence, both knowing that what they were admitting changed everything. My sisters will never accept this, Blessing said. My stepmother will be worse. They'll make life very difficult for both of us. I know. And you still want this. Want me? Chucks took her hand. It was the first time he had touched her like this. Blessing, I've met a lot of people in my life. But I've never met anyone like you. You see people. Really see them. You're kind without expecting anything in return. You dream about making the world better, not just making yourself richer. Yes, I want this. I want you. If you'll have me. Tears formed in Blessing's eyes. No one has ever talked to me like that before. Like I matter. You do matter. More than you know. They sat there holding hands, both knowing that they had just crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. But neither of them wanted to go back. The next few weeks were difficult. Chittera and Oluchi made their disapproval clear. They would make snide comments whenever they saw Chucks. They would criticize his cooking even when it was perfect. They would accidentally make messes for him to clean up. But Chucks endured it all. Because at the end of each day he got to talk to Blessing. And that made everything worth it. Mr. Michael's new wife, Mrs. Victoria, came home from one of her business trips. She was a tall woman who wore expensive clothes and jewelry. She looked at Chucks like he was something dirty. So you're the cook everyone is talking about, she said the first time she saw him. Yes, Ma. My name is Chucks. I've heard about you. I've heard my stepdaughter has been spending time with you. We're friends, Ma. Friends. She laughed, but it wasn't a kind laugh. A cook and the daughter of this house are friends. How interesting. She leaned closer. Let me make something clear to you. I don't know what you're planning, but it won't work. My stepdaughter may be naive, but I'm not. If you think you can use her to climb above your station, you're wrong. I'm not using anyone, Ma. I respect your daughter very much. My stepdaughter, she corrected coldly. And respect. You respect her by making her a laughingstock. People are already gossiping about how she keeps company with the cook. Do you know how that makes this family look? Chucks wanted to say so much. He wanted to tell her that her stepdaughter was worth more than 10 of her biological daughters. That kindness mattered more than reputation. But he held his tongue. This wasn't the time. That evening, he could hear raised voices from inside the house. Mrs. Victoria was arguing with Mr. Michael about Blessing. About him. "She's making a fool of herself," Mrs. Victoria shouted. "She's being kind to someone," Mr. Michael replied. "Since when is that a crime?" "Kind? Is that what you call it?" "People are talking, Michael. Our friends, our neighbors. They're asking why the daughter of this house is parading around with the cook." "Let them talk. Blessing is a grown woman. She can decide who her friends are." "Friends? You're even more naive than she is. That man wants something from her. Money. Status. He sees an opportunity and he's taking it. You don't know him. And you do. Michael, wake up. Men like that are always looking for ways to better their situation. And your daughter, with her soft heart, is an easy target." There was a pause. Then Mr. Michael said quietly, "You see the worst in people. My late wife saw the best. Maybe that's why Blessing is more like her mother than yours." The silence that followed was heavy. Then Mrs. Victoria said, "Fine. Let your daughter ruin her reputation. But don't expect me or my daughters to be part of this embarrassment." Chucks felt terrible. He was causing a rift in this family. Maybe he should leave. Maybe this wasn't fair to Blessing or her father. But Blessing had other ideas. She came to see him that night. "I heard everything," she said. "And before you say anything, I don't care. I don't care what they think or what people say. I know my own heart. I know yours. That's enough. But your family. My father supports us. That's my family. The rest are just people I happen to live with." Chucks realized he had to tell her the truth. All of it. She deserved to know who he really was before this went any further. "Blessing, there's something I need to tell you. Something important." She looked worried. "What is it? Can we meet tomorrow? Somewhere private. I need to explain something. You're scaring me. Just tell me now." "Tomorrow. Promise. Meet me at the garden at 10. She agreed, though she looked troubled. That night, Chucks barely slept. Tomorrow he would tell her everything. And tomorrow, he would find out if she loved him for him, or if his wealth would change things like it always did. The next morning felt longer than usual. He made breakfast mechanically, his mind elsewhere. Finally, 10 o'clock came. He went to the garden. Blessing was already there, sitting on the bench looking nervous. "Okay, I'm here," she said. "What did you want to tell me?" Chucks sat down next to her. "I haven't been completely honest with you. About who I am." Her face went pale. "Are you married?" No, nothing like that. I'm not married. I don't have a secret family. But I'm not exactly who you think I am." "I don't understand." He took a deep breath. "My full name is Chucks Obi. Before I came here, before I became a cook, I was a businessman. A wealthy one." Blessing stared at him. "What?" "I own properties, businesses, have money. A lot of it. But I was tired of people only seeing my wealth. Every woman I dated loved my money, not me. So I decided to hide it. To live as a regular person and see if anyone would love me for who I really am." The silence stretched between them. Blessing's face showed so many emotions. Confusion. So this was all what? A test. Her voice was shaking. "You were testing me." "No. Yes, at first. But then I met you and everything changed. Blessing, these past months with you have been the most real months of my life. You saw me. The real me. Not my money or my status. Just me. But you lied to me." Tears were running down her face now. "Everything was a lie. My feelings weren't a lie. My love for you isn't a lie." "Love?" She stood up. "How can you talk about love when everything else was fake? Your job, your life, your struggle. It was all pretend while I was being real with you. I know I should have told you sooner. I was going to. But I fell in love with you and I was afraid. Afraid that knowing about my wealth would change things between us. Well, it has changed things. Because now I don't know what to believe. Was any of it real? Our conversations? Our connection? Or was I just part of your social experiment?" "It was all real. Blessing, please. I need time to think." She walked away quickly, wiping her tears. Chuck sat there feeling like the world had ended. He had found true love and ruined it with his deception. He had been so focused on finding someone who loved him for himself that he hadn't thought about how his lies would hurt them. The next few days were torture. Blessing avoided him completely. She wouldn't come to the kitchen. She wouldn't look at him when they passed in the house. Mr. Michael noticed but didn't say anything. Chidera and Oluchi seemed pleased, whispering and smiling whenever they saw Chucks looking miserable. On the third day, Blessing's father called Chucks to his study. This time Mr. Michael didn't look kind. He looked disappointed. "Blessing told me everything," he said. "About who you really are. About your lies. Sir, I can explain. I trusted you. I defended you to my wife and her daughters. I believed you were a good man. But you came into my house under false pretenses. I never meant to hurt anyone. Especially not Blessing. But you did hurt her. You made her doubt everything she felt. Do you know how rare it is for someone like Blessing to open her heart? She's been hurt before by people who wanted to use her for her family's connections. She swore she would never let anyone close again. Until you." Chucks felt ashamed. "I'm sorry. You're right. I should leave." "Maybe you should." Mr. Michael sighed. "But before you do, answer me honestly. Do you love my daughter? Truly love her?" "Yes, sir. More than anything." "Then fight for her. Not with money or gifts. Those won't work with Blessing. Fight for her with truth. With patience. With the real you, whoever that is." "How?" "She won't even talk to me. Give her time. And when she's ready, be honest. Completely honest. No more games. No more tests. Just truth." Chucks nodded. He spent the next week doing exactly that. Waiting. Being patient. Doing his job. But every night he wrote letters to Blessing. He didn't give them to her. He just wrote them, pouring out his heart on paper. Explaining everything. His loneliness. His fear. His hope. And most importantly, his love for her. On the 7th day, Blessing came to the kitchen. She looked tired, like she hadn't been sleeping well either. "I've been thinking," she said without greeting. "About what you told me. About why you did what you did." Chucks put down the knife he was holding. "Blessing. Let me finish. I was angry. I felt betrayed. But then I realized something. You didn't lie about the things that mattered. You didn't pretend to be kind. You didn't fake our conversations. The person I fell in love with was real. Your job and your bank account were fake, but you weren't. I'm sorry I hurt you. I know you are. And I'm sorry too. Sorry that you felt like you had to hide who you were to be loved. That must have been lonely." "It was. Until I met you." They looked at each other and something passed between them. Understanding. Forgiveness. Love. "So where do we go from here?" Blessing asked. "That depends. Can you love a rich man the same way you loved a poor cook?" She smiled. It was the first time she had smiled at him in a week, and it felt like sunshine. "I loved the man. The one who listens when I talk. The one who dreams about finding something real. The one who makes terrible jokes while cooking. Rich or poor doesn't change who that person is." Chucks felt hope bloom in his chest. "Does this mean?" "It means we start over. Honestly this time. No more secrets. No more tests. Just us." "Just us," Chucks agreed. They decided to take things slowly. Chucks quit his job as a cook, but he didn't leave the neighborhood. He got his own apartment nearby. He showed Blessing his real life. His businesses. His houses. She was impressed but not overwhelmed. Money didn't change how she saw him. "You could have told me from the beginning," she said one day while visiting one of his properties. "I would have loved you anyway. I know that now. But I had to learn it." Mrs. Victoria and her daughters were shocked when they learned the truth about Chucks. Chidera tried to suddenly be nice to him, but Chucks barely acknowledged her. Oluchi apologized for how they treated him, but it felt hollow. "You didn't respect me when you thought I was nobody," Chucks told them calmly. "Your opinions don't matter to me now that you know I'm somebody." Mr. Michael laughed when he heard about this. "Good for you." They needed to learn that lesson. 6 months later, Chucks asked Blessing to marry him. Not in a fancy restaurant or on a beach, but in the garden where they had their first real conversation. Where she had first shown him what kindness looked like. "I don't have an elaborate speech prepared," he said, kneeling down. "I just know that every day with you is better than any day without you. You saw me when I was invisible. You loved me when I was nobody. Will you marry somebody who is exactly the same person as that nobody?" Blessing laughed and cried at the same time. Yes, yes, I'll marry you. The wedding was beautiful. Not too big or too showy. Just family and close friends. Mr. Michael walked Blessing down the aisle with tears in his eyes. Take care of her, he told Chucks. With my life, Chucks promised. Mrs. Victoria and her daughters came to the wedding, but they sat at the back looking uncomfortable. Blessing had invited them because family was family, but she didn't let their presence affect her joy. During his speech, Chucks told everyone the whole story. About how he had pretended to be a cook. About how Blessing had seen him anyway. People laughed and some cried. It was honest and real and perfect. I came looking for true love, Chucks said, holding Blessing's hand. And I found it in the only person who didn't care what I could give her, but only who I was. I'm the luckiest man in the world. After the wedding, they didn't go on an expensive honeymoon. Instead, they spent the money opening the first of Blessing's schools for underprivileged children. It was small at first, but it grew. Chucks used his business skills to help manage it while Blessing taught and developed the curriculum. This is what wealth should be for, Blessing said during the opening ceremony. Not just to make ourselves comfortable, but to make life better for others. Chucks agreed completely. He had learned that money couldn't buy the things that really mattered. But it could be used to support the things that did matter. Like education, like opportunity, like love. Mr. Michael was proud of both of them. He spent his weekends volunteering at the school, teaching the children stories and lessons from his own life. He and Chucks became not just father and son-in-law, but true friends. You know, Mr. Michael said one day, when you first came to my house as a cook, I never imagined it would lead to all this. But I'm glad it did. You make my daughter happy. That's all a father can ask for. Years passed. The school grew. More schools opened. Chucks and Blessing had children of their own, and they raised them to understand that kindness was more valuable than money, that character mattered more than status, and that true love was worth more than all the wealth in the world. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please like, comment, subscribe, and comment to our channel. Your support helps us tell amazing stories like this. Stay safe.